happy to be joined by Matt Thomas, radio voice for the Houston Rockets and host of the Matt Thomas Show on sportstalk 790 for the lunchtimers, also an announcer for UH Athletics. Thank you so much for joining, Matt. How are you doing tonight?
I'm good. I'm battling hiccups, so I hope I don't have to embarrass myself on this very popular podcast.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. But, definitely want to talk about the Astros trades at the deadline. Probably my favorite move was Trey Mancini. Obviously, I think he's an inspiration to many people, obviously, because what he's done to overcome cancer. But I think this trade was, great for us in all facets. Very versatile player at first base, where you can bring him into the corner outfield. Pretty good power hitter, disciplined at the plate, obviously a great leader. I think he's going to be helpful in depth and maybe rotate with Yuli Gurriel at some point. But what do you think was its ultimate purpose?
First of all, I think for his right-handed bat, he's going to love playing at certainly on the Crawford boxes. He actually mentioned today at his press conference that he might be able to play a little bit of corner outfield in left field because obviously Minute Maid Park's a lot easier than playing left field there than it is at Camden Yards. I feel like to me he might be a jack of all trades guy, and you know what? I think that adds tremendous depth to a team that still doesn't know about Michael Brantley's situation. You don't want to play Jordan Alvarez 6 days a week out in left field. You don't know exactly what's left in the tank for, Yuli Gurriel. This is a little intermediate good burst of energy and batting average, or this is something that he's going to regress back to what was earlier in the year. JJ Matajevic got sent back down to AAA. Jake Myers has not hit the ball very well this year. So I think there's a lot of different things. Plus, think about this. They've been one of the best teams in baseball this year with Kyle Tucker not playing at his offensive best, Alex Bregman. And frankly, if you think about it, Jose Altuve has struggled a little bit the last couple of weeks. So they're winning despite the fact that it's really been Jordan and not much else offensively. I know Limas Diaz has played well, and Martín Maldonado's numbers have gone up a little bit. But this team needed an offensive infusion, and I think they got it with those trades.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't know. I think Yuli's been pretty good over the last month, but again, we'll see if he can maintain that going into maybe September. But I think it was a great move there. Obviously, with the outfield, Kyle Tucker, you mentioned it. I think this offense hasn't played up to its full potential besides Jordan Alvarez playing at MVP level. And I think the Astros really made catching a really good the Astros catchers, I think, are very good right now. Getting Christian Vasquez, really great hitter. I saw that he has the same amount of hits as Kyle Tucker has, or about the same amount of hits. So he's a really good hitting catcher, can bring him in as a pinch hitter. So would you say he has like a Jason Castro kind of role on this team?
Well, Jason Castro announced today that he isn't done for the year.
Mm-hmm.
And my guess it might be for his career, because I know he'd been thinking about it before the start of the season about this might be his last year. So he's supposed to meet with the media tomorrow to give us more information about that. He will be much more of an offensive punch than Jason has been. Jason's numbers were not good when he was playing.
Mm-hmm.
So what I would think, and I've been asked about a lot about this in the last day or so, is instead of moving, if Martin is struggling at the plate and he is a guy that's 0 for 2, 0 for 3, batting him for the fourth at bat in the game, pinch hitting him. Maybe you see a guy like Vasquez come in a little bit earlier. I know for a fact that they don't want him to play as much behind the dish as he's been. He's been playing about 6 days a week, and it feels like on that day off that he gets, he's having to come in late in the game and pinch hit for Corey Lee or defensive replacement.
Yeah,
I think Vasquez will come in and probably at least catch once or twice a week, and we'll see what else he does as perhaps a DH.
Yeah, he's a really great hitter, 282 this season. So I think he should definitely chip in the lineup quite a bit. And would you say the Astros, what would be the weakness for the Astros right now? I think that would be kind of center field for me. Would you agree with that?
You're stealing all my ideas. Good interviews. Let me have the material. I think it's definitely center field at this point. I'm not worried about Tucker. I asked Dusty Baker today on my radio show if he had thought about moving Kyle Tucker to center field, and he really said that wasn't much of an option. That was before today's trade deadline, where they didn't do anything in terms of center field. But I don't think that's part of the plan. But right now, it's up to a couple of guys to try to take that spot and make it their own. And at this point, it has been probably the biggest detriment in terms of offense behind what the catching spot's been so far this year.
Yeah, I agree with that. And the Astros also look to upgrade to upgrade the bullpen. I mean, they got Will Smith, who has a high ERA. Hopefully, the Astros coaching can maybe bring him back to somewhat what he looked like last year, but probably not a high leverage guy that the Astros got. I mean, they already have the best bullpen with 2.76 ERA.
Yeah.
In exchange for Odorizzi, they got Will Smith initially. You know, I was seeing fans on Twitter. They're like, we want to get rid of Jake Odorizzi for whatever because they don't want him on the team. And then they said we got fleeced by getting just one reliever. But
It made no sense. I got the
yeah,
same exact vibe you got as I said, what do you all want? Because here's the thing, how it's going to work out. If Jake would have been on this baseball team, you got Lance McCullers coming back. He's going to go back in the starting rotation for, how many pitches, I don't know.
yeah,
You already know that when the days are off, when the off days start kicking back in again next month, they'll go from a 6-man rotation to a 5-man. And then come playoff time, they'll go from a 5-man rotation to a 4-man rotation. So you'd be replacing 2 different people.
yeah,
Odorizzi probably either is a long reliever or doesn't make the team. At least in this particular case, Will Smith has experience and has been very good as a reliever, especially last year in the postseason when he did not give up and run at all. And again, some of those games were against the Astros.
hmm yeah. I know he closed it out here in Minute Maid. Obviously, I actually turned off the TV before he could make that final out. I didn't want to see that, but Will Smith. Hopefully, we can get him back to what he was last year. And I think the Astros made some solid moves, but I would have liked to see them try and get a center fielder. But I do think they checked a lot of boxes, in my opinion, for sure.
By the way, is that photo of me always behind you? I think it's quite an honor that you would do that for me.
Yeah, it's always behind you. Usually I put a photo of my guest on the screen.
Oh, I thought you were going to permanently put that behind you all for all the time. I mean, that
No,
you should do that as part of your wallpaper for 24/7.
I'll think about it. Yeah, but typically I do put a picture of whoever I'm interviewing on the board. But yeah, I mean the Astros I think made some great moves. But what did Dusty Baker tell you anything? Did Dusty tell you anything interesting maybe about all the moves the Astros made? His thoughts on the new guys at all during the show today?
Well, it felt like to me, I did ask him about the Kyle Tucker to center field, and he kind of quashed that. I did say, Dusty, I think you've wanted a left-handed reliever in your bullpen all along, and he agreed with me on that, so I felt good about that. And he just didn't have a lot of answers about how much Vasquez was going to play and how much and where Mancini was going to play. I think there's 2 months to feel that out. But most importantly, if those guys' bats are good, and they have been, for the most part, pretty good this year, they're both under OPS of 800, but they're probably a 3 or 4 hit day away from getting over to 800. They're going to be guys that are going to be relied on as quick pinch hitting opportunities, replacements, or maybe if things are really going well, those guys will start some important playoff games.
Yeah, hopefully I think those guys will make an impact in the playoffs for us just so we can at the end of the day I think these moves were trying to help us win a World Series. Hopefully Astros can accomplish that. And the Houston Rockets, they had their summer league a while back, but and we definitely want to hear from you about Tari Eason. Was really impressive in the summer league. I think he made it to the all summer league team. So what really stood out to you about his game?
Just the ability to hustle and get down the floor. As you know, as a big Rocket fan like yourself, is the Rockets the worst defense last year in the NBA, and that just can't happen again. This team is not going to put up 125 points a game and say, "All right, we'll win 40 games," trying to outscore you 125 to 122. So I think the 2 selections they made were led in large part to what they can do on the defensive side of things. So I can't wait to see what those gentlemen will be able to do. And I thought Eason, for the most part, really showed out of what he can do. Lengthy, rim protector, good rebounder, put his back to the basket, hustled. It was, I'm not a huge summer league guy, to be honest with you.
Mm.
I just don't take much from it. It's almost like to me watching winter league baseball games where the competition isn't nearly as good. It's just an opportunity for these guys to see what it's like to be in the NBA, and they get a good run through. But it's in Las Vegas. These games don't really count, and it's more of a situation just to get acclimated to what life is like, become a professional. It'll be a lot different when you have to try to stop, I don't know, Luka Doncic or Nikola Jokic or James Harden than it would be stopping guys right now in the summer league.
Yeah, I agree with that. I watch a few games, but love to see the hustle with the guys. That's why I'm a huge fan of Jay Tate as well, because he brings a lot of hustle. Hopefully Tari can help us on the defensive end as well. and the young backcourt for the Rockets as well this year, KPJ and Jalen Green going at it for the upcoming year. So, what do you think about KPJ's future with the team? Would you assess him as the long-term answer at point guard?
Well, thankfully that they don't pay me for that. I'm busy enough calling the games, but
Yeah,
there are times where I think KPJ can take over a game scoring wise. A couple of years ago, when he first was a Rocky, he scored 50 against the Milwaukee Bucks. It was such an impressive performance.
yeah,
And the other times that he sometimes can shoot you out of basketball games. I'm looking for this season in particular steady offensive production. Say what you will about Christian Wood. I know there may have been some people that were not the biggest Christian Wood fans out there, but he woke up woke up every morning scoring 18 points and 10 rebounds. You got that. I'd like for Kevin's stat line to stay about the same every single time. Where one night he's not, going 2 for 9 from three, and the next night he's 5 for 7.
yeah.
I'd like him to be consistent. I think that's the number one thing that the Rockets want to see is consistent numbers in order to say, yeah, let's put some money in your piggy bank and make sure that you're the long-term point guard of this basketball team.
Yeah, I agree. At the end of the day, what I'm really trying to see from these guys is, can they deliver consistently? Can they get those points consistently? Because I think that's really the big thing in determining whether somebody can be, a part of your future. And I think Jalen Green kind of showed some consistency in that second
Right.
half last year. So, what do you think that Jalen should be working on for this upcoming year?
I think he probably needs to gain 15 pounds because the life in the NBA is just tough. It's 82 games in 40 cities. It's 4 games in 5 days sometimes. Sometimes it's 2 games in 5 days. It's practice. It's you eat, you sleep, you're on a plane, you're on a bus, you're not home for very long. And I think, durability will be something that I think will be something that he'll look forward to having if he gains a little more weight. I think he kind of went through those freshman doldrums of being in the NBA and kind of being in a spot where he was kind of running out of gas, took some time away from the game, reevaluated his jump shot, got rid of that little hiccup that he had in it. And I thought his last 2 months were spectacular.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's what really made Rockets fans excited about the season. Hopefully, Houston will improve this upcoming year. But Texans training camp is also going on right now. So, well, what are your thoughts on this Texans upcoming season? Because I really hope they can improve this year with Davis Mills developing more. Because the Texans had a great draft. Hopefully, those players can translate it onto the field. So, how much better do you think they can get?
I don't think it'll be better this year, to be brutally honest with you. I know everybody this time of year likes to say, well, we won X number of games last year. Now we have this draft. We're going to win X amount of games plus 2 or 3. Well, as you know, the math of the NFL doesn't allow that. I really don't think the Texans are concerned at all about number of victories this year. I think they want to see development, and they ultimately want to figure out if Davis Mills is really their starting quarterback. And until they figure that out, they don't know where to go, because if he is really successful, they've got a great starting quarterback who's only in his third year, who's a third round pick. You would consider that to be, basically a steal.
Yeah.
If he regresses, then you wasted a third round pick of a couple of years ago when you could have found yourself a starter. And then you have to go in the draft. You have to burn one of your 2 of your first round picks on a quarterback. And that's okay, because that's the reason why you make these deals, is to find that franchise quarterback.
Mhm.
So for me this year, if I'm a Texans fan, I'm not worried about wins and losses. I got to worry about whether or not Nico Collins is a legitimate number 2 receiver. We know Brandon Cooks is. Is there anybody that's going to be able to carry the ball 4 yards a carry? Because the Texans' run game last year was atrocious. I
Mhm.
think the offensive line is going to be fine. I think the tackles will be great. I can't wait to see what the secondary does with all the young first and second round picks. But on the defensive side, who up front is going to put any sort of pass rush? If they don't get any pass rush in their front 7, I don't care if you put Darrell Green back in the backfield. He's going to be chasing around open wide receivers, and it's going to be a mess. So to me, the biggest concerns are Davis Mills, the skill position players, and how much pass rush the Texans front 7 can provide. If they don't provide any, it's going to be a very, very long season for a couple talented rookies.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Great breakdown. I think you have a guy, I think, that the Texans are hoping for in Jonathan Grenard, who can maybe elevate and try and get some sacks, as he showed some glimpses last year. So hoping
Right.
he can improve this year. And then, of course, Davis Mills. Hopefully, we can see some improvement with him as well. Because, the next year's draft is pretty heavy with quarterbacks, so the Texans can
Right.
always get one at the top next season. I think you made a great point with Nico Collins. That's somebody who I'm looking for this season to hopefully take a step forward. We saw some flashes again with him last year, so we saw some talent on this team. Hopefully, they can take it and improve because that's what you really want to see from the Rockets. And when you were the PA announcer with the Rockets, I was a big fan of your announcing because I think you did a great job. I was at the Rockets and Warriors conference finals game. Yeah, I went to a lot of games that year. Just love the way you announced the lineup, especially that Warriors lineup. It was
Let
really,
me
really
get the
fun.
backstory behind that a little bit.
Yeah.
So, as you know, you've been to many games. I never ever treat their opponents with respect. I just basically matter of factly say their names,
Hmm.
whether it's Indiana or whether it's Orlando, whether it's Golden State. Well, the Golden State Warriors Rockets game was Game 7. TNT, remember, was there. Ernie Johnson and Shaq and Kenny and Charles were there. So they carried my introductions, and most national broadcast units don't carry the
Yeah.
starting line. And so I did what I normally do, and it got Golden State fans up in arms. They were dropping F bombs on me, my YouTubes, all the YouTube channels. I went viral. Most of America who doesn't like the Warriors thought it was the greatest announcing ever. So whenever I need a chuckle in my life, I go to YouTube and I click my name and I see starting lineups, and it still makes me laugh because not only did I really do a great job of deadpanning and
Yeah.
showing as much disrespect as I could for the Warriors, but the comments on the YouTube page are hysterical.
I loved every second of it. I think you did a great job with that. But what was the best part about PA announcing for the Rockets?
Well, I did it over two different times. I did it in the mid 1990s when you were a baby, and you may what were you what
I
year were you
wasn't
born?
even born. I was born in
Oh
2000.
my gosh. When your parents loved the Rockets. Now I feel
Yeah.
really old. But I was 22 years old doing the PA announcing for the Rockets when they won their first championship in 1994. Did the PA in 1995 when they won their second championship. So that was fun. And then I came back in the late 2000, was 2013, 14, somewhere in that range, and did the play-by-play on the radio on the road and did the home PA while Bill Orrell was doing just the home game. So it was kind of an interesting combination of assignments with the Rockets, but just being back on the floor. And the number one thing is there is nobody in the arena has a better seat than I do.
Yeah.
No one. I mean, I am center court. Now, with me doing the Rockets games on radio, I'm up in the lower end of the higher end of the lower level. So I'm on the broadcast deck, and it's still a good view, but it's not as cool as being right there when you can hear the players yelling at each other. You can hear the
Yeah.
coaches barking. The officials are getting mad. They're getting through things, and so it was a fun experience for me. But I do love play-by-play more than I do PA. So when the decision was made for Bill to retire and they asked me to do all the radio games, I jumped at the opportunity.
Yeah, and I think you've done a great job with that. And Craig Ackerman took over both the TV telecast. So um, it's really amazing what you've done with the Rockets. So how's it like kind of adjusting from play-by-play to PA announcing?
First of all, my picture went away. Where's
Yeah,
my
I
picture?
know. I mean,
Let's go now. Who's running this production back there? Don't you put anybody up there. Better be just me.
wow. I think
Can't. Oh, look at this.
wow. I think
How
some
are
people.
you gonna? How are you gonna win a sports Emmy when my picture went away?
Yeah.
The biggest adjustment is it's a lot more work. Honestly, for a Rockets game, it takes me about 2 hours of prep time for each game. And when I was doing the PA, I needed about 10 minutes because all I want to do is make sure I got the names pronounced properly. There are some strange names, as you know, with all the international players in the
Yeah.
NBA. So, but I have, when I do a game, I build a manila folder full of stats and information about how the player has did the previous game, what he's done lifetime against the Rockets. I do the same thing for the Rockets against their opponents. So it just takes a lot more work. And then obviously, when you're doing the play-by-play of a game, you are talking about every single thing that is going on. You are painting the picture for the audience that's listening on the radio. When you're doing the PA, all you announce are the points, the
Yeah.
fouls, if there's a traveling violation, and then you introduce a little skits in between timeouts. So it's a lot more work. It's a much bigger challenge, but I love every minute of it.
Yeah, I can tell that. And play-by-play is something that I want to get into someday. So I definitely, on my channel, I just start doing play-by-play streams of Astros games, of Rockets games. football games because one day I want to be on that. One day I want to be on that stage. So, um, you do a great
Well,
job of that.
keep working at it. You're going to a great school, so you're
Yeah.
already onto a good path. A lot of great broadcasters from the University of Houston, that's for sure.
Yeah, good thing you mentioned that. I'm heading to UH for my first year. I think in just 20 days, so should be exciting. And I know you were also a UH alum, so that's really cool, by the way. And I think you were the host of the UH football game. So what was the story? What's the story for the team heading into this season?
Well, they're the favorites to win the American Athletic Conference. I think Clayton Tune's got an opportunity this year to get some pro recognition if he has a good season. If he stays healthy, his hamstrings stay strong. He's a guy that can move around a little bit. He's got much better accuracy. He's got a lot of skill position players coming back. The running game is strong. I think this team's going to put up a lot of points, just like Daniel Holgerson's teams have done in the past, wherever he's coached. I don't know a lot about the defense at this point. I'm not seeing them practice or get on the field and get ready for the season. But my feeling is this will be one of the highest scoring teams the Cougars will have had in quite some time.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Hopefully, I'm looking forward to a great season. Obviously, I want to attend a few football games because I've never done that before. So at UH, so hopefully that's going to be pretty cool. And you also used to do play-by-play for, I think you still do play-by-play for UH home games.
I do on
Yeah,
television, yeah, for ESPN Plus,
yeah,
which is good because I love Kelvin Sampson very much. I love college basketball. My partner is Reed Geddes, who was one of the guards on Phi Sigma Gamma back in the '80s when your parents were dating each other. So it was fun for me, and it is fun for me to sneak away and do some college basketball when my Rocket schedule allows it.
yeah. I'm really looking. That was a special run that they had last year at the reaching to the Elite Eight. Hopefully, they can go all the way. And you're getting Marcus Sasser back this year. Love to have him on the team. And Kelvin Sampson, of course, does a terrific job. So, what could the team look like this year?
How about having a Final Four in Houston, Texas, and the Houston
Yeah,
Cougars? Marcus Sasser has been absolutely phenomenal. I cannot wait to see what he's got left in the tank after missing a lot of last season with the injury. They've got all sorts of returners coming back. They've got a JC transfer they're very excited about. And Kelvin's done a great job the last couple of years bringing in one or two freshmen that have made a huge difference, Mark or Shed or any of those other guys in the past. And the sky's the limit. And in Fertitta Center, you can't get your student pass as fast as possible because the place is rocks, especially with that great student body below on the court side. So get there as often as you can. Root hard. I know Kelvin Sampson really appreciates it. And I think it's going to be a fun season with good competition. And then obviously it's going to really be interesting next year when the Cougars are in the Big 12, when you've got Oklahoma State you're playing every year, you're playing Baylor every year, you're playing Kansas every year. And oh, by the way, you'll have Texas and OU on the schedule too. So
yeah.
the next 3 years for Cougar basketball should be an absolute blast.
Definitely agree with that. Definitely looking forward to the Big 12 as well. But before you go, I want to ask you, what advice would you give for someone, who wants to get into sports and do announcing, whether that be PA announcing or play-by-play?
Well, the number one thing that you're doing right now is the best thing is create your own podcast. And if you want to be a talk show host, you just turn your podcast on and you do it. You talk for 15 or 20 minutes and you go back and listen to it and you go, man, do I sound good? Am I entertaining? Am I engaging? Play by play, same kind of thing. You go to any sporting event you want to, whether it's professional or a high school or 8-year-olds playing little league.
Yeah.
Call the game. Close your eyes when you're all done. Listen to it. Do you follow your own path? Do you make sense? Are you not repeating the same phrases over and over again? Do you have inflection? And then PA is just kind of watching what other people do. And that's the easiest way to get in, but you have to have a little bit of oomph to your voice. You got to have excitement. You got to be able to rally the crowd when it's necessary. You got to be able to improvise a little bit when they're doing skits and whatnot. So it depends on what kind of field you want to go into. But the easiest thing to do is practice, practice, and practice. And the hardest thing for me is to listen to yourself.
Yeah.
I hate listening to myself. Sometimes I'll listen to a game to see how I've done or if I've said the same phrase maybe 4 or 5 times in a row. It's painful. And you got to think about this. I've been doing this for 30 years and I still don't think I've ever done a perfect broadcast. So
Wow.
that's why I still maintain the ability to record my game broadcast and say, am I going to get that perfect broadcast at some point? I've gotten close, but I still want to have it.
Yeah, got to keep going and just keep practicing. You can't practice too much, I think, in this profession. So, really appreciate that advice. And thank you so much for the time, Matt. Really appreciate it. And sorry about your picture, by the way.
I think our relationship has been permanently ruined because of it. Did this happen when JJ Watt was on there? Probably not.
Yeah.
Does that baseball players on there? Probably not. It's
Yeah.
just me, a radio and TV sportscaster, and I get this second class treatment. I'm never coming on your show again. This is the worst experience I've ever had in my entire. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Hey, you know where to find me anytime. I'll be happy to come on.
Yeah, I really appreciate it.